4 weeks, and it's the strangest experience I've ever had.
Yeah, it's fucking fucking you up a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see that's me. I can't. I don't think I can handle the being on time.
Speaking of,
I
welcome to
get it.
Munch.
Hi.
Welcome to March. I have the opposite thing. Like, if I'm not 10 minutes early for everything, I'm like panicking that I'm late.
No, no, it's late or nothing for me. Hi, Lav.
Oh boy. All right.
Hello.
Hey,
To-
guys, live already.
We are. To give everyone else a little context, in case Lav's a little more active than usual, we both did a couple shots before the show.
Okay, so we're getting shit faced and having lunch. I'm down for it.
Nifty.
They're able to drink for the first time in a long time because of a medicine change.
Well,
And I
hell
promised I'd do some shots with them.
Yeah. So it's either gonna be
Hell
super
yeah.
active or pass out of the keyboard. I got you.
Sorry, I have one more little excited thing, and then we can like do stuff we're supposed to do. Sorry.
Well, let's
Oh.
get to it.
I did my nails.
Oh, those
They're
are
so
pretty.
pretty.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
goodness. Do me.
They're the poly gel. I did them myself.
Nice.
Ray, if we're ever in the same place, I would love it if you did my
That
nails.
is amazing.
I would love to. Okay, sorry. Okay, good luck.
So I'd like pictures so I can look at them closer later, okay?
Okay.
Because I know they're stunning. I just can't see. And I want to oogle them closer.
Exactly.
It's my first time doing them myself, so they're not perfect, but they're pretty damn good for a first time.
Right.
They're
right.
great for a first time.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, sorry. I'll quit distracting now. I'm sorry. I'm
So,
hyper.
so Facebook user, whoever that is, said, "Can you send me the link?" I don't see who that is. Drop your name or some way to identify you, because I have no idea. Oh, Lab needs to go to the eye doctor. That's beautiful.
Mister, you're gorgeous. Shut up.
I look like my usual. So I look like I need to sleep. I haven't slept a lot lately. You know, I can't imagine why I don't sleep.
Okay.
I don't
Speaking of
fucking know,
Mr.
mister.
Looking Gorgeous.
Well, thank you, Lab. For the
Speaking of Mr. Looking Gorgeous, though, like anybody that has seen anything on Mr.'s Snap story, that one snap on your story.
yeah. I think Instagram got that first. You should know.
Hello, Dream.
Hi, Dream.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah.
it. I will send the link.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yep.
Does it give you a share link on here? Oh, yeah, I shared it to the group. Never mind. Just kidding. Haha.
Yep.
I'm a fucking
Yep,
idiot.
got it. Yep.
Oh, man.
Happy Monday Munch, everybody. What's the topic tonight?
Tonight is all about the technical thing I can't find. But the actual wording for it is like the science of attraction, coincidence, or assholes or something.
Chemistry or coincidence, I think
Yeah,
was.
that part. Yeah. The way the brain works with attraction. So, oh yeah,
Right.
I am excited. Yeah. Shall we begin?
We shall.
Yeah.
So, hi, I am Mister. I host this crazy ass stuff every week, except for last week was the first time in Munch history we didn't have a Munch, and that was all due to traveling. So that was strange. So instead of what we were doing last week, we just moved it to this week, and yeah. So I run Kink Slayer. I've got a new banner. See that? Yeah.
Fancy.
Princess.
Hell yeah.
I ordered that.
Damn, okay.
It was pretty affordable. It was like
Less.
it's like less than $10. It's 3 foot by 1 foot. I mean, you can't beat it.
Where'd you get that?
Amazon, motherfucker.
Yep.
You
And
can
then
do
she's got
that
her
on
big ass-
Amazon?
Yep, she's got a 3x3 of her fairy logo. Speaking of her, this is her.
Hi. I'm the Juniper Jen. We were in New York City last week, spanking butts at Pride, and it was amazing. And
How many
lots
butts?
of- so many.
289 butts spanked.
Did
Ooh.
Walked 16 miles, so that's like an average. I think it was like 22 and some change per mile.
Did you see the video
That's-
I sent you, Jen, of the 7-mile long spank machine?
Yes, I did. I appreciated that. I was in work. Yep.
So if anybody catches this, at some point we're gonna try. I don't know what the record is, but I want to set the record.
Of Thanksgiving.
Yep. Add one like a line of spanks.
Yep.
Damn, you should have called Guinness for that shit.
We're going to next year.
Hi, Nat.
Hi, you guys.
Nat, you're finally
Hello.
here when I'm wearing something other than that dress.
Woo!
Yeah, that's a first. That's a first. It's awesome. Hell yeah. Carry on with
So,
the introductions. Oh, since Princess, you finished yours?
Mm.
don't
Yeah, I
you
think
did.
so.
Yeah, we spank butts. This is Juniper Jen. She runs juniperjen.com. Go get your custom floggers now.
And Jack.
Yes, do that thing.
And your afterglow.
Okie dokie.
Right.
Me. Hi. I'm Ray. I am very bubbly today, but fuck.
good job.
Fuck indeed.
Yeah. Hi. Go ahead, somebody else.
I'll go next, I guess. Hi, I'm Alice. I'm a shit poster and I run a nonprofit to help trans people get to their care and out of domestic violence situations. Dream.
I am Dream. Nobody knows what I am. Nobody knows where I'm at most of the time. That is my existence. Goodbye.
Okay, so hi, I'm Mexican from Wish. I'm the cheapest whore on the internet. So yeah, I'm not very bubbly like my other friends. My other friends are very bubbly. I am not. So yeah, and I'm living my best life right now because I'm on like workcation, so I'm having
Yeah.
fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ray, do you guys remember the little bouncy ball that you used to sit on in like elementary school and bounce around? I'm pretty sure that's what Ray's sitting on tonight.
Yes.
No, just my bed.
Kangaroo ball.
I mean, I'm willing to bounce anywhere.
So before we get started, the first thing I want to ask is everybody's opinion on this, because love at first sight has always been a fascination for like everybody. Everybody either believes in it or doesn't. So we're going to talk about attraction, the initial, first sight, how body language plays into all those things, and yeah. So, do any of you believe in love at first sight?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
I used to.
Yes. Used to. No.
No, I don't know.
You
Like-
can, I believe in lust.
I don't even really do that. Like, being as Denny as I am, like, maybe at first conversation.
I think different people have different like experiences with the whole level first sight thing. I have two people in my life only. Well, one of them passed away, but I've had two people in my life where the first time I looked at them, I knew that I loved them more than just like, like for me, it was like with my first one, I looked at him and like he just took my breath away every single time. Like his presence just made you feel so safe, and that's like one of the things I love the most about him. And then the second one, that one, he just does things. Like when I first saw him, he took my breath away too, but it was just like I knew that I loved him, like within saying hi to each other. Like I knew that we weren't just gonna hook up that one time because, you know, your girl fucks on the first date. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, okay? But he's never left my heart to this day, even though we're not even together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He has always been in my heart. Like, he will always be like, if he hollers, I will jump for him.
Okay.
Everyone else can go fuck themselves, but him, I will jump for.
I understand that. Ray, I did have to mute you. It seemed like you had an echo for a second. That way you weren't like, didn't have to, you were talking. I didn't want you to like talk and not be able to be heard. Alice, you said no. Why do you say no?
Because to love somebody, you have to know them, right? You can be infatuated with someone when you meet them, or you can like look at them and be like, wow, I feel an inordinate amount of lust looking at this person. But to love someone properly and maturely, love someone, you have to know them.
Okay. That's fair enough. Dream, you said you used to? Why did you used to? Kind of have all the spectrum here. It's nice.
Because
Why did you used to? Kind of have all the spectrum here. It's nice.
because
There was echo. Oof.
That's all
yeah,
right.
there was a whole lot of echo. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Because I used to believe in it as a kid because that's what you're taught in the fairy tales and Disney, and fuck Disney because it's never at like, you're never gonna go to a ball and lose your fucking shoe. I'm never gonna lose my size 10 fucking shoe at a ball somewhere and have some guy not remember my face just to bring me my fucking shoe, okay? Those childhood dreams are so fucking unrealistic and secondly, really dumb. If someone thinks they love you and they can remember your shoe size but not your face, unless you have face blindness, I don't want to be talking to you, alright?
Understandable. So me personally, I'm the opposite. I used to not believe in it. And Ray will be right back. I want to see if we can fix that echo. And Nat, I've got you muted too, just in case. I know you got people there, so I don't want to have to interrupt your conversations and stuff. Go ahead, Alice.
Just real quick, since the Cinderella story was kind of mentioned, as someone who does have face aphasia, it's not great to be like, hey, I can't remember your face, because there are a lot of other ways to remember a person, right? You'd be like, hey, we talked about this thing, or remember their voice, or
Badass,
the
though.
outfit they wore, or
in that case, the shoe thing makes okay sense.
the
But if
shoe
you're not
thing is
face
ridiculous.
blind,
So you're
Like-
telling me that was the only size whatever shoe in the whole village?
look,
I mean-
maybe my man just has a foot fetish or something. Okay, we don't
It's
judge.
more than likely the yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
I'm not trying to yuck this fictional prince's yum, but if you spent the whole night talking and dancing with someone, you should remember something other than their feet.
I mean, you're trying to look
I
down.
mean, if
and
he
not
had a
step
foot
on their
fetish,
feet.
like, he'd probably be like, you know what? All these ugly bitches in the village, there's only one bitch that's got perfect feet because I saw them through the glass slipper.
Yeah, right.
So
And then you look down at people's feet when you're dancing to make sure you don't step on them. So he'd be looking at some feet all night. This is completely, actually, it's not off topic at all, but there we are.
Speaking of the Cinderella story, when she was talking about, the whole glass slipper thing and whatever, it reminded me of a hoe story when I lost underwear at someone's house.
I have been there.
Cinderella hoe story. Oh, Ray's back.
Can we make that into a movie?
I would love that.
Echo fixed.
We can just
So
have like a Kingslayer drama night. We can record it on some shitty fucking
There you
video and play it out for us to become like millionaires on the internet.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, I'm down. We'll have a radio play.
Is my echo still echoey?
No, it sounds. I think you got it fixed now.
Okay.
So, I'm the opposite of Dream though. So I used to not believe in it, and I've had like a few instances of it, and then as you do more research and you get to know the body and physiology and all the universe and vibration crap, there's a little bit of science behind it that
Oh,
is
wait.
plausible, but not necessarily like absolute.
I remembered what I was trying to think of while I was talking and babbling on. I think there's a thing, and it's called like liminence or something like that, which is the obsessive infatuation with somebody you haven't met yet.
That's weird.
Oh, so that there's a scientific term for my obsession with Ryan Reynolds. Thank you.
I might have said the word wrong, but I know that there is a word.
Limerence.
Yes, that one.
See,
Mm,
It
That's
can be
another
romantic.
big word.
It can be sexual. It can be both.
hmm
You know what? I
Um,
want Ryan Reynolds to in me in the Deadpool costume. Okay. Mm.
so, but like, so the science behind that is apparently like because everything works off of frequency, in some form of another. All atoms move, whether they're not moving or whatever. It depends on the way you look at that. But you can, not to use the lingo or nothing, but you can vibe with somebody in such a way off of initial appearance that you're in alignment together, and that leads you towards that feeling of love, or at least interest.
I have a really bad question at this very moment that we're 17 minutes into this. But what is the actual like? I know the topic is about attraction, but what is the other thing? Because I didn't get that far.
As the chemistry or coincidence, whether it's like there's any actual science to attraction.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have had that with, um, well, actually, the person that is going to be here later, where like as soon as I saw him, there was an instant draw, but it wasn't until we actually talked that there was anything beyond just a, huh, you might be interesting.
Right,
Yeah,
and I feel that as well. I understand that too.
I mean, like I said, like my experience with both of the men that I've like instantly like, I guess what would be like instantly like just be head over heels for them was just like seeing their presence and feeling their energy. Like it wasn't even, high or, I mean, yeah, the fact that they were good looking men had, physical attraction was great and everything, but it was so much more than that for me in my experience. Like, and to this day, like, I mean, Ray knows. I called her the other morning and told her some shit.
So like
I don't know.
now, if you look at it, as a culture, we've taken on this very literal. You see somebody from across the room, and you're like, oh my god, I'm in love. Love at first type of definition. But the way it's kind of defined through a psychological understanding is that whether it's the instant attraction and connection upon an initial meeting of someone. So it can be, that 10-minute interaction you did, but you felt that connection, you felt all these things. It's not just necessarily looking at somebody across the room with no connection, no anything at all, and you feel that. It requires some form of connection. I think
No,
by
I mean,
definition,
no, I mean, in that particular instance, that first conversation, I'm glad I had an alarm set because um, we ended up talking the entire day. Like, I would have lost track and not gone to get my children.
So one thing that they believe causes the love at first sight phenomenon is pheromones. Can be a big indicator, and that's why that meeting is important because if you get close to someone, if anybody doesn't know what pheromones are, it's kind of a scent that you may not smell, if that makes any sense. Like it's a
It's
personal.
it's a particular blend of hormones that you secrete that some people are more receptive to than others.
and I use it at work. Jen uses them at work. They make sprays that are pheromone sprays, and all they do is essentially they have a base scent, but when they interact with your sweat glands in your body, they produce an alternative scent. So coming out of the bottle, it smells all the same, but when you smell it on someone, it's going to smell slightly different person to person.
Mhm.
Helps with tips too as a server. Just put that out there. From my research, at least.
I've never tried the pheromone perfume. I wear men's cologne because on a woman
Same.
it smells different.
They do have a men's version of those pheromones too, and it does have that that
So
musky, fruity
Yeah.
kind of scent to it.
so that's what I need to do before I go to the flea market to sell some paintings next time.
Absolutely,
Yes.
it's possible. I mean, and it could be that pseudoscience of if you believe it works, it's going to work. You know that kind of thing as well. But pheromones are absolutely a real thing, and they can subconsciously change things in the way people act. Periods.
God, fuck a period.
What's wild is
Oh my
periods,
god.
they can be like not in the literal sense, but they can be sniffed out by a person.
That's
Yes.
sometimes in the literal sense.
Yeah, absolutely that as well. But you can feel that I am super attracted to this person, and I would love to sleep with them for no reason. Like I don't know why. And then it turns out.
It has to do with where you're at in your fertility. It's a biological instinct thing.
Mhm.
Like,
And most fertility and reproduction related instincts are governed by pheromones.
mhm.
Laz said they've known Alice for a long time, but it wasn't until you were both completely different stages of life that you began to connect and eventually fall for each other. We used to kind of hate each other. That's adorable.
We went to high school together, and Lab was a bitch and I was an asshole, and we hated each other's guts. And
That's the best.
we both went fuck you and went no contact for a while, and then like fucking 5, 6, 7 some more years later, bam,
True
we
love
start
at
talking.
times.
Sorry. Oh,
Everyone's shitty in high school.
not
For
everyone.
the most part, absolutely.
Even the
Not
people who
everyone.
think they weren't were probably shitty in ways they didn't think about.
I completely agree. I thought I was a nice guy for a little while, and then I was like, yeah, fuck, let's roll into it.
I've actually gotten less nice, believe it or not.
Less nice. You haven't gotten less nice.
Yeah. I used to have welcome stamped across my forehead in high school.
For that part.
She was less nice. She was a lot nicer until she started hanging out with me. You're welcome.
So when it comes to the pheromones, like we said, it can be subconscious. It could be, not understanding why you're attracted to said person. I mean, if you're sweaty, and some people just feel that attraction to sweat just because it's a signal of more often than not, it's a signal that someone's doing some physical labor of some kind, or they're just walking around in the middle of Florida.
I mean, with that level of heat, it is physical labor.
Right. But
It's not the heat; it's the humidity.
oh no, it's all
it's all of it.
That part. That part.
Look, if it ain't cold in the wintertime, there's a problem.
I think we all get really distracted.
But that, to bring it into the kink realm a little bit, that is what a lot of people's big appeal is with primal stuff, is those basic instincts, the sweat, the things like that. There's a lot more. Fuck, I got all flustered again.
And if you get to a point where someone's like in that primal space, or where the prey in that dynamic is like consensually actually afraid, both people smell different, and you actually can usually smell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that musty smell after someone's worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's pretty similar for the predator side. The prey side is a lot different.
Like a scared smell. I
You can
just
smell
like stuttered.
I smell scared. I smelled scared.
No, because I'm right. I just can't put it in words.
And Lab, you say you can't say you really notice, and that's fine. Like sometimes, like I said, it is subconscious. It's not something you understand, or you can. It's not like you smell like mac and cheese rolling off of their fingertips or anything. Good, Alice.
Pheromones are one of those subconscious signals that most people's brains will interpret, but like filter out so you don't have to think about it. Which means most autistic people can usually smell them and get told they're insane because no one else around them can.
Interesting. Oh yeah. Sorry, Becca. I
Yes,
popped your one
yes,
earlier, but yes, pheromones they really do work. And like I said, I can't guarantee that it's a science. The sprays, at least, there could be pseudoscience that I think it works, so it's going to work.
Okay, so to test the theory, nobody at your work knows that you're using them, but it still makes a marked difference in tips.
Yeah, it's quite possible. But I could be providing better service because I think it's working, so I might as well jump in there. It's like that.
True.
It's the catch-22 of it. Now, if she sprays it on me before I wake up and I don't realize it, maybe we could figure it out that way. But
All right. You have homework, Miss Jen.
Oh goodness.
I don't want to mess with those tips.
So one important part of communication, had to throw that in there, is visual cues. And yeah, Becca, do a blind study, but visual cues. Now, I know, like Alice, with autistic,
blind studies.
So when it comes to autism and stuff like that, is it harder to pick up on body language, or is it something easier to pick up on? Is it, I don't know.
So as with almost everything, the answer will vary from autist to autist. Like
Right.
for me, I'm pretty decent at body language and I suck at tone. So like if someone's talking and they're not being monotone, I'll have a problem following the changes of inflection.
Okay.
But if they're sitting there saying, "Yeah, I'm having a great time," and they're standing there like this the whole time, like glaring at everyone, I'm going to be like, "What the fuck?"
Go out with Mister.
Oh, absolutely. I look miserable so many times when I go out places, but I'm having a blast.
Well, as long as you're not glaring at people or mean mugging at everyone.
Oh, I do. I just look like an asshole, though.
I mean, you are. So
He was completely bored and pissed off the whole time. He was fascinated taking pictures of birds.
Right? Just, fuck the angry birds. But so we're still kind of on the initial attraction.
I like to work
so
on body language.
I like how you think, Rebecca.
Blindfold study, I'm down. But as most of us, I'm pretty sure here, are poly in some fashion or another. So we all still meet people and we all still form new relationships and those things. How does that play a factor as far as body language, into approaching someone? If you are someone that approaches someone, how does that, or what kind of body signals do you put off to kind of help a person say, look at you and go, oh, well, they're interested in me?
We're not peacocks.
But we are.
I mean, to a certain extent, we are, though.
But we are. You want to attract a person.
Jen, does that mean you haven't thought about this before?
Miss Jen, I challenge you, makeup. I know you do your makeup a lot just for you, but if you are going to be around somebody that you are specifically attracted to, you probably pay a little bit more attention to the details of your makeup.
When you go to events? Do you think we could do our events with just regular clothes on and no?
Hey, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here and stuff like that because I have people coming over. But
Awesome.
I
Well,
hope
thanks
you'll
for
have
being
fun.
here.
It was good to see
Glad
you.
to see you. Be safe. Have fun.
Glad to have a
Good
chance to show you I have clothes
Yes.
besides that one dress.
Yeah, right? Okay, hold on. I gotta figure out how to leave. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay, bye.
Bye. I don't
Wait.
need to figure it out. There we go.
There we go.
Becca was gonna say something about the bouncy ball earlier.
I think you guys. I think I figured it out. I think I'm just like a natural people pleaser, and I'm always feeling those aspects toward anybody.
But what
That's
attracts you? to
probably
it?
not healthy.
Would you, if you went out, someone, I mean, we all have preferences and standards, but somebody that's well made up, well dressed,
Yep.
or somebody
Smells
that's
good.
or that's dressed kind of slutty,
Boobs are nice.
or would you just look at somebody in like a dirty, raggedy t-shirt, not like work dirty, but just like haven't washed it in
Yeah,
6 weeks,
I mean,
and be like, damn, they're hot.
It depends on the rest of their outfit and the rest of their appearance, right?
well,
I've never looked at a shirt and gone, that shirt's hot. So like maybe the rest of the person matters a little bit.
Let me fuck that shirt.
I'm
No,
naturally a booty looker, and
Oh, yeah.
it goes from there, I
no
guess.
booty liquor.
No, I don't lick it. No way, Jose. Not yet. I haven't graduated to that. I'm still eating my salad, one piece of lettuce at a time. We're not tossing it. I dip it in ranch. I don't even fucking toss my salads.
Excuse me?
Do you not understand that
Do
term?
you know what a tossed salad is, Dream?
Yeah, that thing my sister likes a lot. The
No,
fucking-
well, maybe. I'm not sure you would know that about your sister, but
the fucking
So-
inflatables or whatever.
oh no. So in these
Oh,
terminologies,
funny.
we're speaking of. We're talking about putting your tongue on somebody's butthole.
I missed your entire conversation
There
then.
we go.
Yeah.
No.
But if you
Well,
guys
now you know.
you like it. I would like to watch y'all do that. That's
Now-
fun. to
Now
watch.
you know your sister likes tossed salads. So
I'm not brave enough.
congratulations.
Why are we talking about this?
And I think she might have been sliding one under your radar there because she was like, Dream doesn't know about that, so we'll just. I love tossed
Hey
salads.
guys, why are we talking about
Yeah.
this?
So let's get back to the question at
Yeah.
hand.
So, laugh.
What do we do to give signs that we're attracted to someone?
Absolutely.
I
I was going to comment on Lev's comment, but I will after you.
I don't have like a routine, but what I'll do is normally like when I'm attracted to someone, I look at them and I blush, and that kind of gives away the game immediately.
With what Lav said about people's smiles and eyes are the first things that I tend to notice. And because that's what I tend to notice, that's a typical signal that I would give is a different type of eye contact or a different type of smile.
I personally tend to look out for jewelry because I tend to connect really well with like witchy people. So like I'll look out for jewelry. Like I have some of mine at my desk, like a little pentacle with gems set into it, little gemstone pendulums, that kind of shit. I'll keep an
I
eye
think
out
that's
for.
the ADHD side, though. Ooh,
Shiny.
No, I do that same thing too.
No, Mister, it's the ordained Wiccan priestess part that goes.
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah, it's
someone
the
else has
all
it's
of
the magic
colored hair.
part.
Am I right?
I
Like, generally, I radiate toward colorful.
and
Like-
if
like
there's
TikTok.
like with the jewelry thing, like I notice if there is particular religious jewelry or like tattoos. I'm a big noticer of tattoos, but that's because I like them and
I mean, the source material is awful, but peacock theory is absolutely a thing. And I learned about it through all the good old pickup artist days, but learning how to process it the proper way. You gay panic a lot. But like learning that there are things that people do. I mean, there's a simple necklace is the more subtle version. But I mean, I used to go way over the fucking top. I've got a whole ass spirit hood that's set up like a wolf. I wear that shit out to a club in a heartbeat, and it gets attention. I mean, people want to walk by and just touch it, and it's like, fucking go for it. And then it's almost like, okay, so you've seen the videos, like a bunch of gazelles are going by a lion, and finally he picks one out. And he's like, got it. So enough people touch it and go by, and I eventually just reach out and grab an arm and pull it in.
Yes, anklets are a good thing too. They're a good draw. I was looking at like touching their arms or saying suggestive jokes. Those can be pretty good cues, but I do that with everyone. Like I touch people. Unless you tell me not to. If you tell me not to, I will not.
Like if there's not like someone having said, "Hey, I don't like being touched. Don't touch me." Like while I'm like cracking jokes or something, I'll like backhand like tap their shoulder or
shit out of them. I got you.
No, or like in the middle of like jokes and shit, like, or if they're cracking jokes and I think they're funny, I'll like give them an ironic fist bump and then make fun of that. We just did that. But like, if there's established, don't touch me. Obviously, respect boundaries.
Do you guys? Do y'all understand why the physical touch is such a big deal when it comes to attraction? Even those minor things like touching their arm or like the fist bump, those things.
Oh, can I answer this one?
Well, let's see what you got.
Nope, I have no fucking idea why anyone would want to be touched.
Good answer. There is our ace panelist, folks. Don't touch. We'll bite. But no, it's oxytocin. So that is one chemical. Like it's not like a rush of chemical. It can be subtly introduced, but the levels will increase. That is your cuddle chemical or your cuddle hormone, and it is released whenever you have those physical touches, because it almost makes you feel like you bond. And quite literally, and the brain feels it as a physical bond with somebody. So that's
because
one
you're
reason.
physically bonding with them on a molecular level.
Exactly.
Your atoms are touching their atoms. My atoms are like, get the fuck away from me.
You all right there, Ray? Thinking about atoms touching atoms?
And then there's the lesbians who don't care about atoms touching atoms at all.
I mean, some lesbians would still like to watch atoms touch atoms.
That's fair. I just had to do it for the joke, okay?
You know what? Side note, though, the joke was fucking hilarious. But no, it's like I've, from some things I've seen in research, like, so lesbians quite often will enjoy gay porn.
Mm-hmm.
That's because gays are hot.
True.
So like,
just about every queer person on the planet is hot as soon as they are of age. It comes with the territory.
Okay. So, so we kind of talked. So I mentioned the oxytocin, which brings us to the some biological factors of attraction. They are a real thing. It's not something you can measure. I mean, obviously, if you're doing like scientific studies and stuff like that, you can measure that. But the butterfly feeling when you see somebody or you kiss somebody, it's things like that. That's
Okay, has anybody ever actually had that feeling, though?
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's a real thing? That's not another one of those Disney princess bullshit?
Nope.
No, I just had a huge butterfly thing.
I'm so confused.
Don't get that confused with the butterfly effect.
Look. People are having all these experiences that I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I need help.
So, Dream, I'm certain you remember seeing me going several times.
Yes.
That is my cue to you that I am having that feeling.
Yes, but what? I can't even ask what it feels like because it feels like butterflies.
Do you like roller coasters?
Kind of like butterflies, but for me, it actually feels more like electricity, kind of like through the abdomen. But if it's in a positive context, it doesn't hurt. And then we can get like into rejection sensitive dysphoria, where in a negative context, it does.
And this Alice blushing moment is brought to you by Lav. I get butterflies every time I look at Alice or when they're being cute.
Same, except for the butterflies part.
So the best way I can feel it is, or the best way I can describe it for somebody that's never really experienced it. I mean, like you said, it was kind of like electricity for you, Alice. A lot of people think of it more like that roller coaster feeling, not so intense as going on a roller coaster, but
Elevator.
there you go, an elevator. That elevator.
I love
feeling.
going on roller coasters. Why can't I have that feeling when I think I'm attracted to somebody? That would be really helpful in determining if it's true or not.
Right? See, it's nice. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry you're
Well-
not part of that. But I'm sure now. What I will say is, I'm sure you have your own way.
Where it is a good feeling, you don't necessarily rely on those butterflies to make decisions for you.
They could be like
Exactly.
butterflies.
So, like, maybe it's a fucking miracle in the long run.
It's a good anxiety. That's the
Exactly.
best way.
So psychologically, the word you're looking for is eustress, which is a stress with a positive source or positive intention, as opposed to distress with a negative source or intention.
Okay. So something I wanted to get opinions on, because like I didn't actually research the science of this. So, do you think genetics can play a factor in attraction?
Yes.
Like if your great grandpa and like all the way down to like your dad were attracted to redheads and had children with redheads, would you be disposed to be attracted to redheads?
You said attraction and genetics, and I almost spewed out the most colorful bullshit you've ever heard.
Let's hear it.
It went down the Alabama route, and that was not where you were
Even
intending.
better. Let's hear it.
No.
You know what?
I had no intention of trying to be mean. Oh God.
I'm just saying, if I was from Alabama,
I do want to point out that Alabama is statistically no more likely to have incestuous relationships than any other state.
well, they're still the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
If anything, Florida's more likely than Alabama. I mean, what?
Probably. Don't you know what? I've seen a billboard in Florida that says something like that. Like telling you like it's your daughter, not your date, or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? Who puts that? Like, who needs to be told that? But,
Apparently, people in Florida.
Fucking
The
it
Florida
makes sense.
man at it again.
Florida. Don't stick your dick in a gator. Like, are they going to put that on a billboard next going down 95?
I'm certain they have somewhere.
There are signs at a lot of lakes that do say not to molest the alligators.
Don't fuck the gators. But I really I wonder that, like, I need to look that up on like a serious level.
They
is
say
is
men
to
are
see.
attracted to their mother. They're like,
So that gets into the
say the words for me, please.
So that gets into the psychological aspect that a man will marry his mother.
I'm gonna jump in right here because we're talking Freud, and I fucking hate Freud, and will throw hands with anyone who quotes him seriously.
He was an abusive fuck.
But beyond Freud and like all of his crazy nonsense that was pretty much disproved in a lot of ways, he's not incorrect, and it's more of a nature versus nurture thing. he was incorrect about the way he worded it, and the intent behind it.
He was a borderline incestuous misogynist, and that
Right.
came
I
through his
don't-
practice.
Like, but
So Sigmund Freud is like one of the
Sigmund Freud is the women are angry because they're mad they don't have dicks guy.
yeah.
I get angry about that sometimes.
Did-
That's
You-
besides the point, and not to, but like, I would like to say that I'm attracted to tall, dark, and handsome, which is same as my father type.
We call those daddy issues, and those are different.
I am attracted to kind people, which rules out any sort of attraction to either of my parents.
And see, that's also the thing. You know, it's once again the nature versus nurture. You know, if you grow up in an environment where people are unkind to you, you're going to desire nothing but kindness. You're going to want that because it's a good thing to want. Whereas if you grow up in an environment where your parents are kind to you, or you know, in my case, you're you know, my mother is kind to me, and I'm going to look at that person like that is what I'm modeling my future partner from, is somebody that treats me this way. Or because we don't have any kind of violence in our relationship, you know, growing up in that, I refuse to have that because it's a negative aspect I want to rule out.
So what you're saying isn't you're like trying to date your mother or marry your mother. It's that your parents did a good job modeling what healthy love looks like for you.
No,
No,
that's not what I'm saying.
Right. So in one way or another, yeah, absolutely. That's you know,
You can
it's either
do
what I
a
want or
negative
what I
model.
don't want.
Yeah, you can do a negative model where you see this and go, nothing like this ever again. Or
Right.
you
Right.
can
Yeah,
do
I'm
a
not saying
positive
you want to.
model.
Yeah, I wasn't doing the whole Freud thing of everything means you want to fuck your mom. That was kind of like I think unfortunately like he was not.
I think he wanted to fuck his mom and there was a problem with it.
Well, that too, but
But
what it turned out to be was as people made more sane understanding and sane connections and going along that path of okay, this is like the founder of this concept. Well, what did he actually mean? You know, and how does it really pan out? Because you know, some smart person looked and said, "I don't want to fuck my mom, but I want a person that's like my mom." What does that mean? And you know, it took those kinds of things. So it took some shitty foundation to lead the science, and unfortunately, sometimes it happens that way.
Modern psychology will change precisely zero if you remove Freudian schools of thought from current practice.
Right,
But it
right. I'm
does have
saying
its
like
place in the history of psychology.
right, you know, and that's pretty much where it all goes from. It's just a point to show where we were.
Yeah.
Not a good point, but a point.
Anyway, to circle around to the question about genetics, I do think that it does play some factor because like every person I know who has a specific attraction like redheads has a family or like parents who are also attracted to that specific thing. But I think it's also mostly that nature versus nurture. Like if you're around people who are like growing up, you're around people who are attracted to one specific body type or one specific hair color, then you're going to grow up being told this hair color is hot or people with this hair are beautiful, and that's just something you'll internalize.
or you just have preferences.
Yeah, I mean, you
in
could just have a
certain
preference. I mean,
things that you're attracted to.
and that's what I like about the human psyche so much is it doesn't matter what your what you've grown up with. Everybody's still an individual, and everybody's still going to have some sort of preference. Straight parents raise gay kids. Gay parents raise straight kids. You know, it's a preference in what you do, of who you are as a person.
I think I've started to be more attracted to bald men since youth.
Well, see, that's
got to do with
that's like a
anything?
90-10 gamble, okay? Like 90% of bald men are probably racist assholes, and the other 10% are really genuinely good guys.
But they still 9 out of 10 have a great ass. I've been doing my studies. Don't know how this adds up, but it does.
I'm trying to think like in my personal life. I mean, my mom was like not the best role model for a person, but like I look for those good aspects that I did see through all the bullshit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like it's one of those things, and I don't think my dad. I don't think he has a preference. I think if it's moving 18 to 80, cripple, blind, and crazy, anything's on the table. So
That's a little predatory.
that's the phrase I heard growing up. Is I'll take anything 18 to 80, cripple, blind, and crazy. Nothing's off the table.
Okay, so
Twice gross. Didn't have to repeat it.
I'm sorry, but that just sounds like
Yeah.
he's targeting disabled people.
It very much does.
It's
Yeah.
one of those fucked
Not-
up Southern phrases
Yeah.
that means I don't have a preference in who I date as long as I like them.
The less predatory
Wow.
version of that is any hole is a goal.
There you go. I like that one.
Oh,
Is that really less predatory?
you guys, are we gonna do this tonight?
Any hole is a goal. There we go. That's
No, don't repeat them.
that's the motto.
I mean, technically, that's kind of the pansexual motto.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Whether it's
Any
mine,
consenting
yours,
goal is a goal.
There you go.
I feel like we're just figuring out how to be ethical about this,
right? But
and not
We
sound.
at the moment, Jen, we're talking about shitty parents, not ethical things.
but I get what she's saying.
So okay,
You want to take the shitty things and make them ethical. Is that what you're trying to say?
right?
Okay.
So instead of 18 to 80, cripple, blind, and crazy, anything, nothing's
Which
off the
really-
table, you
could
any
say-
hole
I
is a goal.
know the man is not predatory or
No.
anything like that.
But you just
This is
make it
just a
better and
phrase that
say
was
any hole is the
said.
goal. So see, now you've moved
Yeah.
forward.
But
I
I feel
agree.
like if he would have known that it could be ethical back in the day to be himself
Right.
and communicate properly with his partners, he would have
No.
used the same terminology we use instead of this.
Any hole is a goal.
Now, getting back to the nature versus nurture thing, a lot of that can change as you grow and develop as an adult. Like, growing up in a very colorfully narcissistic household,
Mm-hmm.
I tended to be attracted to what I was familiar with. And I accepted that that was okay because it was what I knew. But as I grew and learned more about myself, I learned, no, I want anything but that.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it can be as well. I mean, you look at people that grow up in not to jump into like any politics or anything, but people that grow up in like a racist household. It may be one, it could become an act of rebellion to date someone outside of their own race.
Been there,
it
done that.
could be, I don't know why I'm just attracted to this person, regardless of their race. They break that mold, and that's just as important, to break those cycles as well.
Yeah.
Me personally, not being taught about other cultures as a child makes me more interested in them as an adult because there's so much I just don't know that I want to know.
Yeah.
So,
But culture now, speaking of other culture's a big thing. I just had like my first non-Christian or atheist partner last year, so like learning about culture like that and seeing how that is very different, is seeing how things are instilled in them and how they perceive anything is different
different
or the
religions.
same, as what I think, which starts to show that there are certain things that are universal to the human experience. regardless of what you believe and who you are. Society, like societal stuff, like your area you grow up in. You know, you're going to be more predisposed to date a certain type of person. Like we said a minute ago, if you've grown up around certain types of people.
Mhm.
And that's not necessarily just growing up either. That's like just where you're at currently. If there's only certain types of people in the area that you're in. Now,
I'll marry
with
farmer. I'll marry farmer.
with internet dating and stuff like that, it has broadened a lot of horizons, but I'm a very physical person. I don't do well with long distance internet relationships because I need to touch my person. So it limits just based on availability.
Mhm.
Right. So I always think of when I learn anything about like attraction and how human sexuality works in that way, I always think of Sex at Dawn. That book like was revolutionary to me to teach me how other cultures do things, and they're completely different from the way we do things. There's a tribe in South America. I was going to say South Africa, but there's another one for that. But there's a tribe in South America where they still believe that everyone plays a role in the child being created. So, if someone's going to get pregnant, they'll mate with the priest. They'll mate with their strongest hunter, their best gatherer, their most, their chief, like all those things in the tribe, because they still believe that's how that works. So like learning that, and then you see other cultures that are like, you got one shot, one marriage, that's it. This is your person, and you're stuck with that. So like it's cool to see differences like that.
God, imagine all of the child support they would get.
I know, right? But see, that's another thing. Culturally, they still all take care of the child. Like that's, so they see that, and that it takes a village. So then the child learns to hunt from the best hunter. It learns to gather the safest food from.
Imagine having a dad. I can't imagine having 12 dads.
I'm just sitting here thinking like the conception part is going to be a blast.
Right? Like, because then they're all the dad. Like, okay, you all did it, so congratulations.
Ah, yes, a village of dads. Imagine being one woman in a village of dads.
I'm just saying.
There's a game called Dream Daddy. It's that exactly.
I'm just saying, like the abundance of dad jokes.
Oh, absolutely.
You would learn to take in dad jokes the way we breathe in air.
Right. Oh, you'd have some witty fucking kids though, wouldn't you? Like they would be able to fire off some funny puns at any time of day.
I mean, my kids spoke sarcasm before they spoke full sentences, but still.
That's right, Becca. Everybody pays. So in America specifically, though, we have such a difference in what each subculture in America finds attractive. But once again, every individual finds their own person attractive. But as a whole, society through marketing and advertising and all that stuff pushed the skinny model type forever. And now that things are moving against the status quo of that as the standard, people aren't able to process that lately. You see it all the time. They're coming after Lizzo because Lizzo's famous and Lizzo's a big girl. Lizzo's happy.
And anyone who wants to go after Lizzo can get up on stage and dance and play the flute and sing for 3 hours straight, and then they can say anything, right?
Right. Okay, with what Rebecca said, with never getting away with anything, it could go the opposite too, because you have all of those parents to play against each other.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the loop of go ask your dad?
Oh God, you'd never have to answer any question as a parent.
So I have a question though. This is a completely theoretical question because we're never ever going to know the answer probably. But if everybody is the dad, does that make the kid like the heir of the kingdom? And then when his father die, the village is blank and he runs everything to create the next fathers.
It's quite possible. And there may
Sure.
be
Can
a
I get a
separate
movie?
ceremony for that, for like the chief to actually just have a sole heir. I don't know. I have to look into that.
Right, Rebecca. Like, there's nothing to hold on to, and like, okay,
Tapping out, princess.
whatever. Guys that are too skinny, like, if your hip bones leave bruises on my thighs, that's not the kind of bruises I want.
Fair. It's fair enough.
Ouch. Okay.
I am going to say
Sorry.
not a fan of skinny shaming any more than I am of fat shaming.
You're right. I apologize.
Like, you can have preferences, definitely not the body type that you're attracted to, and that's fine. But
I
there's nothing
apologize.
wrong with being a skinny person. Right?
There isn't.
I feel you. It all comes down to like you said, individual preference.
Mhm.
I don't have a preference. Funny enough, like I don't have, doesn't matter if they're super skinny, doesn't matter if they're big. It's all first off that initial attraction we talked about. How I feel when I see that person for the first time, that does play a big factor in it. That's how Jen and I kind of met. She popped in the office that I was at doing the interview, and I was like, "Damn, who was that?" Wanted to get to know her. And then I found out she worked breakfast shift, and I was like, "Oh, I'll probably never see her." but going from there, then the other factors to me start to jump in. Are they a good person? Are they, I've got that initial attraction to that beautiful smile. What's next? And I could say culturally, I don't think anything I've grown up in has had any kind of effect on that I can think of.
So I had before transition, before like coming out as non-binary and pansexual and all of that, when I was still trying to be a cishet dude, I definitely had yellow fever, which is not a great thing. Kind of when I came out as
Is this okay? Are you about to describe what I think you're about to describe, or did my mind go somewhere it shouldn't have for that phrase?
I wasn't about to describe it. I was just moving on.
Oh, okay.
When I came out as non-binary and pansexual and like started trying to figure things out, I went, that's kind of a gross way to look at a group of people. So let me figure out what it is I'm actually attracted to.
Right.
And right around when I started my medical transition, I kind of locked in that it's just confidence that I'm attracted to, like people who seem confident.
Right,
and then
right.
like most people aren't usually as confident actually as they project being, so there's a little bit of work to do there, but like
I know you just said you weren't going to explain, but you and me are going to have a nice talk afterwards, and you're going to explain all these terms I don't understand.
You want me to be the bad guy? I'll be the bad guy.
No, I'm the one who brought it up. I'll do it. For anyone
You can
who
explain
is
later.
for anyone who's watching and also
Oh,
didn't
God.
understand that, yellow fever is a kind of pejorative phrase to describe someone who is unreasonably attracted to Asian women.
What about Asian men?
Would still be applicable, I suppose.
It's like specifically targeting a certain demographic of guys, the ones that are kind of gross about Asian women. There was some learning to do and some trying not to be a piece of shit to do.
Okay, but they're pretty to look at. Like, not in a gross way, but like a pretty way.
You know what though? Like I've never felt like that super intense attraction towards Asian people.
Yeah, like they're like aesthetically, all Asian people are fucking gorgeous, but there's not like there's a line between these people look cool and I appreciate how they look, and being unnecessarily, unreasonably sexually attracted to someone just because they fit a certain demographic.
So,
So,
like, is there a term for redheads?
as
'Cause that's me.
as Soup usually says to me, they're pretty enough to put in a glass case and look at for a couple of years.
There you go. That's
don't
not
put
common
anyone
at
in a glass
all.
case. That's
Serial
Like a-
killer
like a-
101.
that's not
Like a
gross in
beanie
the
baby.
that's not
Like a
gross in the
beanie.
borderline racist way yellow fever is. That's just straight up serial killer talking.
I mean,
No,
what
no,
if the person?
no. Like a beanie baby. Like you sit there and you appreciate it for a while.
Still doesn't change it.
I mean,
Doesn't
but
change
what
a
if the
damn
person?
thing.
But what if the
Put the lotion
person
in the
wants
bath.
that? What if the person wants that?
So like we're not talking like consensual like objectification. Put them in a
we
box made
are.
for them. We're
That's
talking about
kinda, no.
we're talking about looking at a demographic and going, all of these people should be put in a box for me to look at.
I didn't say
That
the
is
thing.
not
for
what
once.
I meant.
I didn't do the thing this time. This is great.
That's
Dream
what
said
I
she
said,
being a
but that
box.
wasn't what I meant.
All right, Dream. Then what did you mean?
Oh wait, so Soup keeps hammering it into my head about this thing about putting certain people into like giant beanie baby containers to just stare at them for a while because they're aesthetically pleasing.
It's
And Soup wants to be able to take them out like dolls and then
It
put
puts
them
the
back in the
lotion
case when
on
they're
the
no
skin.
longer useful or fun.
Or
Until
so
next
that
time.
Those again.
so that's called objectification.
So, but there are people that want that. I'm just saying.
Again, if it's consensual, no one has a problem with it. We're talking about saying that specific thing about an entire demographic of people.
Well, let's not do that, okay?
Like on an individual case, if you walk up to someone and go, "You're real cute. I want to put you in a box and look at you for a while," and they're into it, more power to both of you. For the record, I am one of the people who would be into it. So like, you know,
Jen said,
Amazing.
"What about a porta john?"
no.
All right, back to topic. I
Just real quick because I did find it.
I didn't
The word
do
you
it
were looking for, Mister.
Uh-huh.
Rutilophobia, or philia. Sorry,
Utilophilia.
rutilophilia. Rutiluphlia is the people the word for having a fetish for redheads rather than just an attraction.
Okay, I don't think it's a fetish.
Um,
I'm good on that front.
there's also the answer from the Urban Dictionary, which is so much worse.
Oh, let's hear that one.
Pumpkin pounder.
Oh my god. Jesus.
That one's so much better.
It's so much worse. It is so much worse.
I feel like we could all sit here for hours and hours and hours and be like, yeah, they're pretty. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's not do this.
Absolutely. We could go, this person's pretty if they were consenting. Here are some things. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so the next bullet point. Yes,
Please.
let's do that.
All
The
right.
next bullet point was, I didn't
is-
do it this time.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit in one of our earlier things, the neurochemistry, the things that happen in your brain whenever you're starting to feel that attraction.
Take it away, Alice.
Yes. Why am I getting called on?
Because you know
You're the
all the
smart one.
technical things.
Yes, but at this particular point, it's going to look like I'm copying from Mister's homework because oxytocin is the big one.
You go for it. I mean, if you got all this knowledge too, so you fucking rock it out. I'm down for it.
So in most cases, any interaction that you would think of as like bonding with a person, like playful touching or like cuddling or other spicier activities that you do together will release a lot of endorphins that make you feel good and kind of associate that positive experience to that person, and then also release oxytocin, which is a lot of the time called a misnomer the love hormone, but it's just bonding, right? Whatever connection that you have with a person, when you have an oxytocin inducing experience with them, it will strengthen that bond, be it a platonic bond, a familial bond, a romantic bond, whatever.
Okay. So see, that's what a lot of people get wrong, though, is the oxytocin is not just about.
It's not about romantic. It's not about sex. It's just whatever bond you have, it makes stronger.
Now, one thing I did see when doing some research on some of these chemicals is they have linked vasopressin to jealousy.
I don't actually know about that one. Take
So
the lead, mister.
vasopressin is so the definition I have here is a hormone that plays a role in social bonding, trust, and territorial behavior. So
With that being said, that would make sense, because if you are releasing the hormones that tell your brain you're bonded to this person, this is your person, it would make sense that would be the same hormone that would be like, whoa, you can't have my person.
that's like, so most of these hormones come from correct me if I'm wrong, it's the hippocampus, like your lizard brain, your basic instincts.
Yep.
I have a hippocampus in my head.
You have a hippocampus in your head.
Everyone does.
You're going to school. I'm gonna count hippos in my head when I go to sleep.
She's gonna count hippos now.
I want to toss in real quick that vasopressin is also related to your body's like osmotic balance, like maintaining water and salt and kidney function.
Interesting.
And my brain is like, is that why my kidneys are fucked up and I don't get jealous? Am I just missing this?
So now I want to see if there's a study like that, though, like kidney function and the concept of jealousy. If there's a correlation between those two.
I hadn't thought about that either, but because of my illnesses and stuff, my kidneys at best function at 80%, and I don't get jealous. Like,
So I have a solution.
Lazy hippos,
You guys
right?
pee the jealousy out.
It's because we're lazy hippos.
Because of lazy hippos. Oh.
Think about it.
but I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily I have a lazy hippo, because I release a shit ton of the other ones. Like, I am like shit ton of bonding to everybody. Like, if you touch me, I'm yours. In my brain. Like, fuck. Damn it.
I understand that experience. That feeling is what tends to induce the gay panic in me.
I just have everyone panic.
So the one you'll hear most often is dopamine. I wonder, is that where dope comes from?
Yes.
No.
Smoke some dope?
Actually, yes, because it does trigger the same feelings as when you have a dopamine overload.
See, I need to see that on some over-the-counter drugs, like just straight dopamine. Man, the pharmacists would make millions and billions and trillions.
Sorry, go ahead, Alice.
So the origin, at least as far as like in competitive sports, for the word actually comes from a Dutch word, dope, which refers to an alcoholic drink that was believed to make athletes stronger and perform better.
Huh.
Thank you.
Just a happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say.
I don't know why, but that was... Never mind. I'm going to shut up. So, continuing.
Dopamine is one that I have a particular beef with, honestly, because I have to take medicine because like the autism and ADHD are both dopamine regulation disorders.
Okay.
So like with ADHD, you have dopamine deficiency, which is why I take a stimulant to trigger the production of it. And then with autism, you have dopamine regulation issues. So like that's why autistic people will be like, sometimes will just be like, I am super not interested in what's happening. I'm going to walk away in the middle of something important, or like fixate on something that isn't important or something that's just interesting to them, and then fixate on that to the point of near obsession because it's triggering that dopamine response, which is a rare occurrence for autistic people.
Please don't call me out like this. I'm totally paying attention to the conversation here. Don't worry about me.
Dream, we've had this conversation in private.
So now that is fascinating because, like I said, as you know, I've never really looked deeply into autism and how that works. So that really makes sense. So like that fascination or infatuation with like a specific thing.
When it's ADHD, they're called hyperfixations. When it's autism, they're called special interests.
But they basically mean the same thing.
Hyperfixations are temporary, usually lasting from hours to a few days. Special interests. Special interests are like long-term, if not permanent. Like
Okay.
I got a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity over here, and I've been busting computers since I was 4 years old. It's like,
Yeah.
I started a business instead of sleeping last night and then spent the entire day setting it up, 3 weeks researching it before this, and I can't stop. And that is currently what I'm distracted by while having this conversation.
yeah,
Like,
I super get that feeling. It's a matter of willpower for me not to bring up Diablo 4 on my other screen. I'm sorry, Ray, I talked over you. Please continue.
It's okay. I forgot.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But so dopamine.
Oh, I remembered.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, I've noticed the difference. Like with my son, he has both ADHD and autism as well. Like his hyperfixations, like you can't distract him from this one particular thing for like an hour or a day or sometimes a week. Sometimes like a particular song will be his hyperfixation, and we will listen to that song on a loop for a week. But then it fades away. But like his special interest, like anything to do with electronics, that kid, like, you might as well not even bother talking anymore.
Yeah. And like what's worse is when a hyperfixation evolves into a special interest, because it'll keep that same level of interest.
That's what happened with him with electronics. I cannot keep any old electronic in the house that I want to save for anything unless it is like
under lock and key.
My boobs. Even lock and key. That kid's a fucking hacker genius. Like,
I've been there. I from time to time I'll do these competitions called Capture the Flag challenges, where it's basically you're in a race against a bunch of other people to complete a series of challenges and collect specific codes from like secure web environments that you, as part of the challenge, have permission to break into. And
remind me to never introduce my son to you. I'm just kidding.
I've had to like limit the ones I go into because some of them are like 12 hours long, and that's kind of a little bit of a marathon. And then some of them are like 5 days long, and you're supposed to like eat and sleep and shower and take care of yourself while also doing these challenges. And like I'll just sit there for the entire 5 days or until I'm done.
Oh man,
that's a mood.
So dopamine. So autism and ADHD are dopamine
disorders.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't just leave it at that.
Well, really neat thing. I don't remember the details of it, but there's something about the rest of your body. So, like specifically, like your stomach produces dopamine as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's supposed to be not enough to like influence things. Go ahead.
There is no such thing as not enough to influence things. If it's in your system, it's going to have an influence.
Yes.
ADHD and autism are also very frequently comorbid with GI issues.
Okay.
Like I have inflammatory bowel disorder, which is like IBS's angrier, meaner cousin.
Okay.
Yes.
Could have worked the opposite
And,
way.
like, I have ADHD and I have gastroparesis.
Ooh. I am
That
sorry.
doesn't sound fun.
It's basically a big fancy term for my stomach is lazy.
Food doesn't move out of your stomach as quickly as it should.
Right.
I have to be careful with my my anti-androgen. Like if I miss a dose, I can't double up on it because it'll temporarily give me that same condition.
I've
Bitch.
been on like a whole slew of medication to try to help it, and that's
Guys,
Yes.
I would just like to take this moment to say it's almost 11:30 at night. Thank you for making me take my medicine.
Look at there. See? Is that why I like my stomach kissed? I have no idea, Becca. I think that might be more nerve location.
I mean, if you have a GI condition that makes it uncomfortable, gentle signs of affection can be comforting just in general.
Okay.
Like in the same way that like if your muscles are sore, just having someone come up and gently massage them is comforting.
Okay.
And will release a lot of those feel-good hormones and a lot of that bonding hormone.
Very nice. So we know my motto is live fast, eat trash.
Yeah.
Could that be like the reason I can live fast and eat trash and it doesn't fucking affect me? Like, can it work the opposite way? Like, give me like non-existent digestional issues?
Have you been to a doctor and been screened for digestive issues you're not aware of?
No, we're just gonna pretend they don't exist if they do.
Okay.
Mister is just a goat in disguise. That's why Jen loves him so much.
Part goat, part possum. That's me. But like, so, yesterday at work, day before, something like that. One of these, in the past 6 months, at some point, I was drinking, or I was doing something. My heart rate got up to about 105, 106.
Mhm.
I was like, fuck. So I go over and I was like, hey, watch this. And I grab my Red Bull, crack it open, and I'm talking to one of my coworkers, and I drink it down. And about 10 minutes later, I'm still working just as hard as I was. Heart rate's down to like 92. Yep. What's up?
The inverse reaction to caffeine is a symptom of ADHD.
What?
Yes, it is.
Crazy.
Fun fact, cocaine does the same thing.
Yes, it does.
Speaking from experience.
So cocaine will calm me down?
Unfortunately.
Well, that sounds like
my brother also has pretty predominant ADHD, and that was his experience with cocaine. Like, his doctors were just baffled because his blood pressure was actually under control for about 6 months, and he was doing coke every day.
hey, it works. But that's fascinating now that I know that. That is interesting. I always joke with people. I'm like, my heart rate goes down because it stopped, but the Red Bull has kept it going.
No, I'll actually like if I'm having like anxiety or having a blood pressure issue, I'll actually grab a Monster for that same reason.
So see, Red Bulls are healthy for me.
That might be pushing it a little bit. There's definitely better ways to manage this.
Well, we don't want to manage
But
it.
like with my son, on the days when even with his meds, he's just at a level where he is uncomfortable with his energy level, I'll give him a cup of coffee.
Me every day.
Interesting.
Part
You guys
of my,
ever go running
no. Part of my
on purpose?
Well, I go hunting, but not animals. Aside from that, no. But part of my wake up, get ready for work routine is I spend an hour belting out singing just to get that energy out before the day starts.
Did somebody just say running from cannibals? I'm really missing half this conversation.
No, No, he asked if I go hunting, and if I go running. I said, well, I go hunting sometimes, but not animals.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you were running from cannibals.
Well, it is West Virginia, so the hills do have eyes.
That one wasn't even set in West Virginia.
It was
You're
probably
thinking
set
of
in
wrong
North
turn.
Carolina.
You're thinking a wrong turn.
Look,
Either
I
way.
think maybe I should get off of here because everything I hear you guys saying is wrong, and I'm just sitting here trying to communicate.
Ray, are you surviving over there? It's a combination of coughing with a collar on. Does not look like it's going well. You okay? There we go. So, safety lesson: try not to choke on your drink and cough while you have a collar on. Makes it kind of
Try not
restrictive.
to
Could be
choke
fun
on
if you're into that.
anything and cough while you have color.
But the reason I was asking about the running thing is like the runner's high. I've personally never experienced it, like because fuck that, I don't want to run. But yeah,
So when I used to work out, like I used to work out 6 days a week and did high intensity interval training cardio 6 days a week. I never got the runner's high from like running, but that dopamine came for me from like the actual weightlifting part when I got up to heavy training. Like at my peak, I was benching 280
very nice.
and like up from 200 above the point where it was like, all right, I am benching my own body weight. Like that part and higher gave me that reaction.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna jump off of here for now. Good night, guys. I love
Peace
you
out,
all.
Cub Scout.
Good night, Dream. Love you.
Good night.
Love you, Dream.
Are we surviving? Are we thriving over there?
Yep, I'm
Thriving
good.
might be pushing it.
I'm good. I'm just trying to put this thing back on now.
So, and people don't realize there can be almost I may be misusing this term, but a Pavlovian effect of dopamine with like certain things because of the moment they were received. Like you get a great first time you've ever tried like coffee and you have like the greatest news in your life at the same time. Your brain's not going to separate those. It's going to say, you know what, coffee made us feel that good, so let's abuse that.
Or similarly, coffee reminds us of this instance, and then we have just reliving that memory, that same dopamine rush.
That was honestly that's why I started smoking. I mean, I always joke about it, but I was like 15, and the girl I was dating was like, "You're gonna hit this, or don't hit this anymore." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, we're gonna have a cigarette and ride that." So,
Ick.
right, but so good.
Oh, sorry, I'm alive again.
Good,
That
I'm glad you
sucked.
survived. It did not look like it was fun because you were like trying to get the collar off at the same time. Your face was getting red because you were still coughing, and it was like, it was one of those. Do I take her off stream or?
Right, you got to drill taking the collar off so you get down doing it quickly.
There you go.
Normally I can pretty quickly. I just
Yeah.
Becca says
drill it with the nails. Lav had a similar experience recently with their collar, but it wasn't a drink they were choking on. We found out very quickly that you need to make sure it's a little loose when you do that because the pressure inward is a problem, and there's also pressure outward.
yes.
That's the snacking.
I was trying really hard not to break the rules because never mind. Hi, how's it going?
There's no rules on lunch.
So when it comes to a matter of your own like physical safety and well-being, fuck the rules, they're secondary.
For sure.
And if the person who set those rules doesn't think so, fuck them.
He probably would have just laughed his ass off at me for trying to avoid taking the collar off.
Good.
You were struggling for a second. I was really like, should I take her off the stream? Like, it looks like this is not going well, but
I'm good, and I even fixed my face. I had makeup all down to here.
I know, it's kind of a vibe.
But anyway,
it's safer. I don't think drinks
safe-
work with safe words.
The safe word only works if there's another human physically present. Like, what am I gonna do? Tell myself the safe word?
Oh man.
But, whew, yeah, taking a collar off with nails when you're not used to nails is a bitch.
There you go. See, gotta practice. Gotta practice.
I don't wear nails often enough to make that a necessary practice.
Well, now you know why. Now you know why to practice. So do you guys remember? Have you ever heard the term "chasing the dragon"?
Yes.
So that's kind of the same concept of the opium dens. You know, getting that initial high. You know, and in a culmination. I mean, like I said, my story was kind of a little ick. I mean, it was still nice for me when I was down for it back in the day. Still probably would again, given the right conditions, but it was a combination of that, you know, being full of hormones and having the opportunity to have sex with somebody. All I had to do was smoke a cigarette. And then I smoked that cigarette and I got my first nicotine high. So all that hit at once, and it's like, that's like why I smoke like 6 packs a day. I'm just kidding. It's only like a pack. Good job. There's that crisp Florida air. But it comes down to stuff like that. I mean, you chase, a lot of times you chase the dragon in many ways. You know, you feel that first high, that first really good moment, and that's all you try to get back to. Go ahead.
So I had something similar with alcohol that kind of led to multiple stints of alcoholism, where like the first drink I had proper that wasn't like in a party context was because I had a tooth that was abscessing and I just needed something to numb the pain, but couldn't afford to go get medicine. So one of my friends just gave me a tumbler full of whiskey and said, "Drink this, you'll feel better." And that was my first time having like more than 2 shots at once.
Very nice.
And looking back on it, I can go, the thing I was avoiding was ADHD, but it made my brain quiet for the first time in my fucking life. And like everything's a lot easier to process when your brain's not running a million miles a minute. So like I started like trying to get back to that feeling of things being quiet enough to function comfortably. And that went like, that was the time where I was like married, the shitty ex-wife I talked about, and like things went downhill from there. So like I kept going back to that feeling to have some comfort, and it led to chasing the dragon basically, because it started taking more and more alcohol to get to that point.
Right.
And eventually I just didn't get back to it.
And
Until I started my current medication, Vyvanse, under the care and supervision and direction of a psychiatrist.
very nice. And that's what people don't understand a lot about addiction. Is it's not necessarily the substance you're addicted to; it's the initial feeling you had from it, or the problem that it solved, and that's all you want is to continue solving that problem.
Yeah, and that's where I was with alcohol for a long time. With my
Gotcha.
brain shutting up and being quiet, it also helped quiet down like the gender questions I was trying to repress.
I get
Until it
that.
didn't.
No, on a related but a little bit different, it can be stuff other than substances too. Like, it can be
people.
The first time I willingly had sex, there was a specific song by Nirvana playing in the background, and now every time I hear Nirvana, I'm turned on.
Fair.
It's quite interesting how the brain does that. I mean, you know, there are billions of neurons inside your brain. So, you know, and they create themselves if you have a good connection with something, or even people that have had strokes, you know, that part of the brain gets killed off for lack of medical terminology at the moment. But, you know, that blackness settles in with the neurons there, and over time people do recover because they rebuild that. And it can be rebuilt. It takes a lot of work, though.
They don't necessarily rebuild the same connections, but you build different pathways that lead to the same result.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to learn to use their arms again, or their legs and stuff like that. So, and that's why a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but in some cases, you do see people move past paralysis. or gain function after paralysis. Maybe not, full walking or anything like that, but they do gain function. Um, oh, sorry to hear that, Becca. But your brain is magical in that way, and it's one thing that I've always seen that fascinates me about the brain is it knows everything it needs to know about itself, but it won't tell you.
Now, from personal experience, I did have to teach myself to walk again, and it is a lot of retraining the brain to respond. Like, I had, for a long time, I had to consciously think, okay, move this leg, take a step. Until eventually it got to where I'm at now, where I can walk no problem. But I did have to learn how to walk again.
I hope that I never experienced that in my life, because I've always looked at it going, there's no possible way I'd have to tell myself how to do something that I know how to do. But hopefully, and I feel for anybody that ever has to go through that. That's something I'm pretty empathetic to a lot of things. That's something I could never put myself in a position of understanding. I could feel for you on that one, but I can't feel it.
Well, that's why, like, even though, yes, it does hurt, that's why I get so proud of myself when I do walk 3 miles in a day, even though I can't walk for the next 3 days. It's because of I still have that in my brain of when I couldn't.
And coming from having to like relearn and reclaim your ability to walk 3 miles in a day is a fucking achievement.
Oh yeah, 3
Yes,
miles in a day for me is an achievement someday. So hell yeah to you. Like, kudos to you on that one. But it makes you wonder, and once again, I want to see a study, and if not, there needs to be one. The honeymoon phase, the new relationship energy, is that simply because the dopamine levels that are coming from these new connections happening, and then once they stop connecting to new things, it balances out, and that's when the honeymoon phase kind of ends.
And I'm sitting here with my 2 dopamine regulation disorders going, I don't lose that new relationship energy.
I don't either.
Is that why? That would make sense.
Right, so you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if there's any studies on that. Like, I wish I was going for like a doctorate, because that'd be a hell of a dissertation to have.
All right, so what's our next bullet point?
Well, the next one is kind of still on the oxytocin, vasopressin, and how they affect things. So there is one thing that said vasopressin has primarily been studied in males.
Everything's primarily been studied in males.
Right, but I mean, even from like a non-misogynistic standpoint, I could understand that, like in an animal, like the animal kingdom, the males of groups more often than not are the territorial ones that will defend their territory and their pride, or pee on Jen's clothes, stuff like that.
Like cats do that. They usually have to.
That does make sense from going back to the caveman instinct brain. Like, the male hormones are more geared towards protect the females, because this is how we are going to make more of us.
Right. But and I can see that too. I mean, it all comes down to, most things come down to, if you look at them at a very, very base level, is survival. Most things, and happiness falls in that too. If you're unhappy with like depression, you're unhappy, so your brain kind of gives up that concept of survival, and it just wants to find the way to make the unhappy stop. So, I don't know how they, and that is that kind of what I guess antidepressants do.
Yeah, like
regulate those levels.
most antidepressants are either SSRIs or like stimulants. SSRIs are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which prevent your brain from like taking up and dismantling the serotonin inside of your brain, so that that level stays up where it should be. There's also selective dopamine reuptake inhibitors if the cause is believed to be dopamine antagonistic. But yeah, that's usually what stimulants do. Like that's it's what my Vyvanse does. Is it stimulates the production of dopamine, and basically takes that unhappy that comes from not having the right chemistry balance or chemical balance, and then levels it out a bit.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Norepinephrine, that's another chemical.
That's your adrenaline precursor.
I was gonna say, isn't that an EpiPen?
That's epinephrine, which is
That what you said?
Norepinephrine is a hormone precursor. Epinephrine is like the release everything you can.
Yes.
Epinephrine usually only comes out in like near-death trauma, in like naturally, whereas norepinephrine is a lower stage
Yes.
sympathetic antagonist, I think is what it's called, but like it causes the production of adrenaline, which then dumps into your system and does all the things adrenaline does, but in much smaller amounts than just straight epinephrine does.
Yeah.
Which
Straight
is why
epinephrine.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I said it first. Go ahead. I'm not going to forget what I was saying.
Now I'm gonna need you to go ahead. I can't.
and the screen goes off.
Which is why, like, when you have like an adrenaline rush, you're fine because it's usually norepinephrine. But like, if you use an EpiPen, you have to go to the fucking hospital to deal with the consequences.
Because
Right.
that EpiPen is like, whatever the fuck may work, do it, and we'll see if it works.
Yeah, and like, if you're, for example, I have a severe allergy to chocolate, and like it has been anaphylactic at a couple of points. So like when I got stabbed with the EpiPen, like that went into my thigh, it goes into your bloodstream, your body goes, oh shit, every ounce of adrenaline I can produce, make and drop into your blood right the fuck now. And then everything goes haywire as your body's trying to deal with having that much adrenaline suddenly. But that much adrenaline can also like cause heart problems. If you've got any kind of neurological condition, it can cause a stroke. Like if you've got an aneurysm lurking, it can make that happen. So like you have to go to the fucking hospital after an EpiPen.
Yes. Huh. Especially like somebody like me. I have 2 different nerve disorders. So when I have an anaphylactic reaction, if I have to use any EpiPen, like it is absolutely vital. Like I better already be on the way to the hospital when I use that.
Yeah, and like just to have said it a little bit, make sure you know which side the EpiPen has the needle. Don't press that side down with your finger when you stab the person because you will inject yourself. And call 911 immediately after you use the EpiPen.
Yes.
Be safe. Don't kill people with EpiPens.
Mr. Leftist. Shit, what's the next bullet point?
Fuck, I don't know. Let's riff and talk about that reaction you had to me going, go.
That's not.
If only Mr. had given us the bullet points this time.
Right? You enjoy turning me into a puddle.
I do. I got to make sure you're in the right headspace for when your friend shows up.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. So, hi, Rebecca. How are you? Fuck, thank God you're back, mister. What's our next bullet point?
So I'm going to sound like a 6th grader trying to read the word onomatopoeia for the first time, pronouncing this one. Phenyl Phenylethylamine. Phenylethylamine.
Phenylethylamine.
Yeah, that works. Whatever. Sure. It's the P word. Um, so apparently that has an effect on like the euphoria feeling, the butterfly feeling the body
This
can
one,
get.
this one I'd have to look up because I'm not super familiar with it.
But back to the norepinephrine, it also is triggered with arousal,
Hmm.
so it causes more of those hormones to dump your estrogen, your dopamine, and all that stuff. Go ahead.
When you're in the moment and you have your arousal, your body's capable of doing more than it usually normally would be. Because I don't know many men who are like able to deadlift, let's say 150 pounds for like an hour straight, right? But when it comes time to do the work that comes with that arousal, they usually find the energy, and that's normally where it comes from.
Or like a masochist, like me walking down the road, not turned on, somebody smacks me with a paddle, it's gonna fucking hurt. But if I'm in that headspace, it's gonna hurt.
I had that experience actually last night at a friend's party. The friend that had invited us over, like we were all like down in the house's basement playing on the pinball machines because one of the people lives there collects them. And this friend came up behind me and just two hand full like ran into the room to smack my ass. And like this is a person I have that relationship with, like so there's like consent's fine. And I like gay panicked a little bit over this person because it's the person I've been gay panicking over in the Discord for months, and like actually moaned in a room full of people I don't have that relationship with, and it was horrible.
That's the best.
you I had a moment where I was just kind of like had my hand over my mouth processing what happened, and they came up and started bullying me a little bit playfully, like grabbed one of our mutual friends and was like, hey, you want to see what gay panic looks like, and then brought them over to me, and I just ended up like sitting down on the floor just a mess.
Sounds like a possum over there.
Listen, I'm getting
All the wrappers and stuff falling off the bed. Snacking. Oh man. So yeah, did you ever look that word up?
No, I actually needed you to spell it for me again, but then you left.
Okay. You know what? Phenylethylamine.
Yeah, what is that thing?
What are you doing over there? Oh,
Nothing.
uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I'm just sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a neuroactive trace amine. So it's a base. Amine is loosely related to amino acids. Like it's a base compound that's used in the central nervous system. And apparently, it's a stimulant. Our body produces it naturally to produce a lot of hormones like dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine,
Okay,
and
so it's
it
like
can.
the base to these things.
It's a precursor. Your body makes it, and then your body says, "This is how much of this I have, so I got to make this much to treat it, or this much in response to it."
Gotcha.
Neat. Actually, hadn't heard of that one yet.
Kind of like right now. So obviously, you know, when it comes to like sexual relationships, not just sexual, like any kind of situation, your body can still produce testosterone and estrogen to compensate for the things you need to experience in that moment. I could see like a mixture of like, and you do see it a lot. Like if you watch really fucked up videos, like I watch, you know, you see that testosterone kick in with that adrenaline, and sometimes people will go over the edge, like in a fight to defend somebody, or something like that. Um, it almost sounds like it's a lack of control because it may be a dump of too much of one or the other.
Not so much a lack of control, like because of the hormones. Testosterone will like precurse a heightened level of aggression, but if you're going to be fighting, you need to be able to maintain a deliberate level of aggression, regardless of the condition your body's in.
And don't kill people.
Don't kill people in a fight.
Yeah, don't do that.
Unless they're Nazis, and then
Then whatever happens, happens.
yeah.
Let's see.
What's that look, Ray?
Nothing.
That is a flustered look.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you look like when you're flustered, Ray?
And then you gotta talk like that, fucker.
I was just asking a question.
Come on, Ray. You can tell us what's wrong.
Moving forward.
So, and once again, I would love to see studies on like attachment styles, because like attachment theory is fun, but like attachment styles and love languages and how the regulation of dopamine and the other ones that I completely blanked on just now, oxytocin, vasopressin, and how those things come into play with, so if you're a physical touch person, is it for the oxytocin? Is it because you needed the oxytocin boost, or is it the balance of dopamine and oxytocin? Like, is there a certain, you're almost addicted to your own chemicals in your brain, and you just have to find ways to make those chemicals come out.
I wouldn't even say almost. Your body will like decide on this is like the level you should be at, and then keep trying to get back there, and you'll have the impulses in the same way that you would have the impulses about like smoking.
So what you're saying is my brain knows it'll never be as happy as it once was when something happened, and it's always trying to find that happiness again.
I would say your brain thinks that, not that it knows that, because I would hope that's not true.
Like Becca said, just tell us, Ray. So yeah. That's pretty much it. Like when it comes to like attraction, your brain is like pretty much like the only reason you're attracted to somebody. I know that sounds very basic, but like for the most part, like all the things have to click right in your head.
The problem is for a lot of pansexual people, it clicks right about most of the people we ever meet. And then,
a little bit of this, a little bit of that,
Yeah. And then we as the responsible adults have to be like, no brain, shut up. Stop it.
That's no fun.
I know you know the feeling, Ray.
Damn it.
Like right now.
This isn't fair.
If Ray were to lean just a little out of camera, the face match with the background would be identical. Like, it's beautiful. No amount of makeup can cover that red. There we go.
Oh boy. Shit. Fuck, I'm not muted.
Mister, I'm going to need you to find that clip later.
Oh, I
then send
got
it to
you.
me.
I got you. To disappear and then fuck. I'm not muted. Oh, that was like the best. That was probably the best part of the whole shebang there. But
Do we have any other bullet points we have to get to?
No,
Yeah.
we got them all. Now we can just pick on Ray for the next 6 minutes if we need to.
Let's not.
But to stay on the topic of the attraction and the chemicals, I believe the dopamine and oxytocin levels in Ray are off the charts at the moment. So it's a good time. So my goodness.
So I'm looking at an article on Science Direct, specifically about oxytocin and attachment styles. And what it's finding is like you might expect, the less secure attachment styles either have too little or too much oxytocin, and that's causing a negative response.
Huh. That's
That can also be replicated by introducing exogenous oxytocin, by a medicine that induces oxytocin,
Mhm.
and they could reliably trigger that negative response to attachment by giving someone too much of it.
Okay.
There's the article for you in the private chat.
Oh, hell yeah. I like a good article. Can't write one, might as well read one, right? We don't have to go into it now, but I would love to see, once again, because oxytocin and empathy kind of go hand in hand. So I imagine sociopaths have 0 oxytocin levels or close to 0.
I don't think that's true. Sociopathy and oxytocin. Damn, I stand corrected. So what I'm seeing here, just real fast from the National Institute of Health, there's a study published that shows, rather than saying sociopathy, it's usually antisocial personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
That apparently a contributing factor, but not the only factor, is a deformation or a mutation of the oxytocin receptors, and 2, that treating it with exogenous oxytocin worked for some, but not all.
So it's possible to treat it, but not guaranteed.
Yeah. So there were some who responded well to it. There were some who responded just meh to it, and then there were some who actually got worse on it.
Wow. That is fascinating.
Another article right here.
Right. Right. Okay, over there.
I think Ray might be combusting.
I am not combusting. I am okay. I promise, I think.
Ray ain't combusting. She's just busting over there. It's okay.
Actually, I'm wiping off my makeup because all of my eyeliner was in my eyes.
Like,
I hate that feeling.
like a squirrel in the fall busting all those nuts up.
I'm gonna
Bust my nuts. Oh,
see, I'm okay.
are you? Are you? Are you sure you're okay? I don't know, I've learned quite a bit. You know, whether I retain the information or not is up to the brain. But I've probably got 20% of it retained. Just the important bits. I do that. Like that's how I read. I'll go through like a summary of a book rather than read the whole book because I'm like I just need the important shit.
When I go to read a book, I'll read the entire thing and retain the whole thing, and then have to go through it again and be like, these are the parts I can forget. These are the parts that don't matter, and manually prune what I keep in my head.
Right. Because I've read Think and Grow Rich. I couldn't tell you how many times, but I finally just started listening to the summaries of it because it's I don't need to hear about Thomas Edison and how much of an asshole he was until he believed in such and such, and it's who fucking cares? Just tell me the point.
Stop being an asshole. Fuck Thomas Edison.
Like, just tell me how to do these things. I don't need to know all the details. Becca likes gardening too, or is like an avid fan of going to the bar and like
I have on many occasions just sat at my desk with like a bowl of pistachios and another empty bowl, and
yeah,
just
just busting nuts all day.
all day long.
Always got to keep your nuts in your butt so you can bust them. What'd you say, baby? About Ray?
Have a good sprinkler system.
Or like the sunflower seeds, you put the nut in your mouth before you bust it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to put it in your mouth before it busts. Something about Ray and a sprinkler system? Is that what you said? She
God
called it-
damn it!
Garden.
Oh, for a garden. Oh, Ray needs a sprinkler system for a garden.
Oh, Ray has one for
Oh, Ray has a sprinkler system for a garden.
garden.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You can have for that.
I feel you. You know, sometimes there are some nuts that are easier to bust when they're wet, so I could imagine a sprinkler system works. Gardening is fun. Any closing thoughts?
Fuck you, mister. That's my closing thought.
There we go. There's another good soundbite. Oh, goodness.
Closing thought: the central conceit is it chemistry or coincidence? The answer is, like most things, in the middle. It's both.
It absolutely is. You can be
There-
attracted to some of the most unlikely people.
There are like indicators that your brain relies on to determine who it's going to be attracted to, but we don't really have a way to reliably like manipulate those, so we can't just be like, oh, I'm going to be attracted to that person.
Right. I wonder if we'll ever hit that peak of neuroscience to be able to determine like a limitless type pill. You know, like you take that before you go to the bar. That way your brain.
All right, okay. Fuck Limitless. The central conceit of that movie is that you only use 10% of your brain, which is patently
wrong.
false. I hate that movie so much.
Yeah, sad part is I watched that movie and I related. I was like, oh, it's like when I take pain pills. I understand. So terrible take, but it was it for me.
I mean, to be fair, it's a lot easier to understand things if there are underlying conditions that need treated, and those get treated.
Yeah. So
Um,
I will say I think my ADHD thing was kind of the reason I stopped being addicted to painkillers. I just got tired of them.
Yeah, like that's kind of the same thing that happened to me at the end of alcohol. It was like I'm not vibing with this anymore. I'm gonna go find something else to get interested in. And then before another substance came along, I got into therapy.
There you go. See, had that short window and you took it. But I do agree, it is absolutely in the middle. Like I said, it could be chemical is the only reason you feel attracted to somebody. It could be coincidence because you just happen to be in the same place at the same time and like the same thing. So either way, trust your instincts for sure. Your brain will steer you wrong at times, but just kind of go with how you're feeling in the moments. When you're gardening, you just let it all go. Just let it go. Acid, maybe. Okay. Becca, acid with the limitless feeling. Never done acid, so can't tell you for not. And mushrooms don't work for me, so I feel like my
But mushrooms also don't work for me. ADHD.
my stomach is broken.
I haven't had acid in a long time. It was fun last time I had it. That one worked. I do want to add in also, just as a little thing here at the end, like a footnote. It's entirely possible when you're attracted to someone to like be attracted to the idea you have of a person, regardless of whether or not that idea is realistic or based on who they actually are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like there is more than just pheromones and more than just being in the same place at the right time.
Right. So a little bit of everything. And don't forget, it's super important to bust nuts. You can't eat them without it. You know, you gotta sunflowers, pistachios, peanuts. Just bust as many nuts as you can. And if you're having a hard time busting the nut, get it a little wet. It should bust easy.
And sometimes you need to get tools to help you bust those nuts.
Yeah, a good tool will go a long way. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's a wonderful thought to end on.
That is a fantastic thought, and we'll wait till Ray sees that. There you go. Good night, everybody.